definition part is not as yes, it is very good to you for you to know the definitions and all of that, right? That means that you understand the concept of these things, but you understanding how they work, right? It's you can do a reverse engineering of it. If you understand what they work, then you can get the definition out of your understanding of what they do, right? So each of these concepts, as much as I like people that people understand the definitions of what we are doing, do you understand? But it's not something that you are supposed to cram, do you understand? Except maybe you're going for an interview and all of that, right? So yes, but you have to put yourself to it, you have to apply yourself to it so that you can get those definitions right. Right. But you said you understand the practical side of all of these things, right? Which is very important, right? The practical side is very important. So if they ask you what is a constraint, right? You are able to, you might not be able to give a textbook what's it called, definition of what a constraint is, take for example, but you are able to define or list all the constraints that are available and make use of them, right? Is a very, very important part of the knowledge that we're trying to get. So I need to hear from Ibukun and from Madam Anita, from Vivian. So far, do you have a good understanding of what we're doing? Right, because the essence of this training is for you to learn and learn it once, right? So, and this feedback is what would help me know if we are on the right track or not. Hi, BK, are you there?
I would say that yes, I'm here. I would say that I'm understanding the everything that is being taught. Yeah, but because I've not been able to practice because of my installation and everything, I wouldn't. So maybe like I would say 60. I understand the theory part of it. Is now putting it into practice rather. That is just left for me to be able to
Okay.
grab fully. Yeah. But at least
Okay.
I get to understand some of the terms that are being used. So um when you are talking or when if someone mentions something, I will not be lost if they are talking about SQL outside. I won't be lost at all. So yeah, just
Okay.
getting my
Awesome.
hands to do the work left.
No worry, by God's grace, this night
Yes, sir.
will fix your system. All right.
Yep.
All right, Vivian, are you there? Madam Anita, good afternoon. Welcome. Vivian and Madam Anita, are you there? Okay. Don't seem to be there. All right, let's continue. So last class we started talking about data manipulation last class. We have a long way to go. We have a long way to go, right? And we'll just continue from where we stopped. Right? So we started with data manipulation language. We finished data definition language. We started data manipulation language, and we talked about data manipulation language as the set of tools or statements that allows us to manipulate the content inside the database, right? And we started with the SQL select statement. We started with the SQL select statement, and I mentioned that the SQL select statement does three things.
Can I hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Went off for about a minute there. All right. So I was asking, we started talking about what's it called? Data manipulation language. And I said we talked about the SQL select statement. And I was asking who can remind me of the three things that we said, three capabilities of the SQL select statement. Who can remind us? Capabilities of the SQL select statement. There are three of them. Who can remind me of the three of them? Anybody?
We
Anybody?
have projection,
Okay.
retrieval, and joining.
Awesome. Projection, retrieval or selection, and joining. Awesome. 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 And and I told you that this SQL select statement does. So the SQL select statement does three things: retrieval, which is projection, which you say what occurs on the column part of your table, right? You project on your columns, or you project your columns, and selection, which is or retrieval, which is done on what on the rows. So which means that when you have a table, right, and you want to see a list of columns from the table, right, you do that. We call that projection, right? And those columns have to fetch a particular set of rows, right? We have to fetch a particular set of rows for those columns, right? And we said that is some sort of what of selection, right? So we do selections with that. We do selections with that, and we continue from there to talk about a whole lot more other things, right? Awesome. Now that we've talked about that, right? We want to also go. So we talked about projection. We talk about selection. So we say that when you have a select statement, please let me know if you can see my screen. If you have a select statement, right? If you have select statement, hold on. I'm just trying to. All right. So if you have a select statement like this, right? You have select employee ID, first name, salary, commission percentage, and job ID from employees, right? What do we have in this situation? What you are trying to do in this situation is that you are trying to do a projection, right? Do a projection of how many columns? 5 columns, right? Employee ID, first name, salary, commission percentage, and job ID. And you are what? You are getting that from the employees table. Are you there? Now, if in this situation, right, because there is no where clause, we use the where clause for what? For selection. right? That is to restrict the reward, the number of rows returned. That's what we have in your where clause, right? Because this does not have a where clause, right? Which means that it will return all the rows in that table, except that it will not return all the columns in the table, but it will return result for just what? For just these 5 columns that we have projected. Are you following me? Now, so we talked about that. Then we also moved into um, um, using arithmetic operators in or arithmetic operators to perform arithmetic expressions with SQL select statements. And we said that because some columns, right, are numeric in nature, that is, they have a numeric data type, they have a number data type, right? We can perform arithmetic operations with them, right? And you have something like select employee ID, first name, salary commission percentage, salary multiplied by 12, and salary multiplied by 12 multiplied by commission percentage plus salary um multiplied by 12, right? And job ID from what? From employees. Now, what you have here, I told you last class, is that we're performing an arithmetic operation on the salary column of the employees table, right? Which means that that salary column has its values as what? As numeric. That is, they are numbers in nature. And because they are numbers in nature, we can use them to perform what? Arithmetic operators. And you can see we also went into having to understand how the system evaluates these arithmetic operators: addition and subtraction, multiplication and division. And we said it follows the rule of BODMAS, right? Which says that bracket and order takes precedence over multiplication and addition. Multiplication and division, which also takes precedence over addition and subtraction. And we said that if you have that is six components of the BODMAS, right? But divided into 3 order of precedence, right? And he said that if you have 2 in the same group of order of precedence, that is, you have bracket and or multiplication and division, right? It says that they will be evaluated from what? From your left to right. That is, in your SQL statement, it will be evaluated from the one on the left to the one on the what? On the right. Right? Can you remember? Right? And we said that what? When you want to go against or override the order of precedence, what do? We use the parentheses. So in this situation now, right? I want you to perform. So say I want you to perform commission, right? I want you to perform commission plus salary together, right? I want you to perform this addition statement first before doing the modifications. What do? I put everything around the what that I want you to perform the addition on in parentheses, right? Which means that it will perform salary multiplied by 12, right? But instead of calculating salary multiplied by first, it will add what? The commission percentage to the salary column. It's what? Add the commission percentage to the salary column, right? Then it will now perform the multiplication statement, that the salary multiplied by 12 multiplied by the result of the what? Commission percentage plus salary, then it will multiply all of that by 12. Of course, that is not the logic that we are looking for. So we're going to take that off, right? So that is how to use parentheses to override the order of precedence. Then we also talk about concatenation. Can you remember? We talked about concatenation. And we said that concatenation is our way of what? Of working with columns or working with character columns and joining 2 or more columns, even with literal together. That is, you can join 2 or more columns in a table together. And even with literals, that is character literals or literal characters that do not even exist on the database, right? So I'll give an example. We said what? We use the concat function to perform concatenation. The concat function to perform concatenation. I say select concatenation, SQL space, can you see SQL space is space a space beautiful space language, right? And if you run this, right, you can give it an alias. We also talked about an alias before. You say an alias is the name that you can give to an expression, right? So if you call this concatenated, right, what happens? It will generate this result for us. Waiting on the results. Right? Can you see? And that is the result that we have. SQL is a beautiful language. That is what we ran up there. But let's see how concatenation works with columns, right? Say concatenate, select concatenate in bracket now, first name concatenated with space, concatenated with last name, concatenated with is a, then with space, then concatenated with job, right? If we run this statement, what do we get? We would get hold on. Right, can you see? So you have their names concatenated with their first name and last name concatenated with is a concatenated with their job IDs, right? Their first name and their last name concatenated with is a and concatenated with what? With their job ID, right? So this is the function of concatenation. Are you following? Now, if you look at it, the column still has what the result of the expression that generated that result. So which means that we can give it an alias and say what? As employees details, right? So if we run this again, right, you see that the column heading will not be concatenated first name, blah blah blah. It would change to something more meaningful, and that's the essence of sorry. Right, can you see? The title has changed to something more interesting. Then we also talked again last week about distinct, right? I spent more time talking about distinct last class, and I said that what we use the distinct keyword to generate informations that are to be unique or unique informations from the database. That's what we use the distinct keyword for, right? We use the distinct keyword to generate informations that are unique, right? So take for example, right, you have people in department in your organization or in the organization, several people in one department. But if you want to know the name or the unique job IDs in the department, right? So you have a department like the sales department, right? Inside sales department, you have a sales manager, you have an assistant sales manager, you have a sales manager, maybe you have like two or three um, um, deputy or assistant sales manager, then you have about 10 sales rep, right? That is three different job roles in the sales department. The sales manager, three people doing as assistant sales manager, and you have 10 sales rep, right? Now, what that means is that if I query the database to see everything everybody that is inside the sales department, what I would have are duplicates of people, right? Which means that you have one person as a sales manager, another three as what as the assistant sales manager, and another 10 as what as the as a sales rep. Now, if I want to see distinct, like if I use the word distinct with that statement, it will help me know that okay, in this department we have just three job roles in this department, right? So basically, we use the distinct keyword to remove redundancy or to eliminate redundancy or to eliminate duplications. That's basically what we're trying to do, right? We're using it to replace or to remove duplication or duplicates of values in a column that has more words, that has repetitive values, right? So take for example, if I run this statement now, right? If I run this, let's run this first statement to see what we have. Please, are you following me? Let me know if you are following me, please. No. Let me know if you are following me, please. Now, if you look at this result, right, can you see the result on the screen? Right, you see that in the admin department, we have just one president. Then we have two people, Nina and Lex, sharing the same role or job ID, as it were. Sharing the same role and job ID of admin VP, right? And you see Alexander, Bruce, David, Villia, and Diana as all IT programmers, right? Now, a duplicate of 5 people, same job role, 5 people, same job role, right? So if I use the word distinct, right, distinct helps me to know exactly the number of distinct job IDs in the company, right? So to remove, what it would do is that it would take one person or one job ID and just represent the result by one job ID. So total, I have 19 job roles in that employee table. 19 different job IDs. That's what you're saying. You have 19 different job IDs. That is 19 different job roles in the organization. Distinct job roles in the organization. But that doesn't mean that IT programmers are not what? They are not 6. They are 6 in numbers, but we just need just one to represent, to say that this set of people are an IT programmer. Or they are IT programmers in the organization, right? So in the IAC, can you see the accounting department? We have one accounting manager. We have accounting manager. We have accounting accountant. We have accounting manager, right? But it's possible for us to actually have 2 accounting accountants and 1 accounting manager. But because of the distinct keyword, we're able to just see one of those job IDs, right? Now we want to move to the next chapter that we talked about, which is restricting values, right? I'm just doing a quick recap so that we understand restricting values. And we said that what? When you generate a report, right? So take, for example, it says generate a report of everyone in department 90, right? If we say select all from employees, remember select all means that you have what? All the rows and columns is what you're talking about. But in this situation now, we're trying to calculate all the rows. If I run this now, of course, the count here means that I want to count the number of people in the database. So if I run this statement, I want you to look at what the result will look like. Right? Look at what the result will look like. Right? Can you see? Count all means that it's saying that I have just what? Just 107 columns on that table called the employees table. What does that mean? You remember that these values are what? They have unique values. So which means that I have 107 employees working in the company. That's basically what you're trying to say. Right? That's basically what you're trying to say. So we use the where clause, right? We use the where clause to restrict, right? To restrict the result. Now, when you say you're restricting your result, you don't want all the rows to be returned by a query. So you want to be specific at what? You want to make your query very specific, not a generalized query. So we use the where clause to meet a particular condition. I told you last class that you must have a column name, a comparison operator, and a value in your where clause. So the where clause takes a column name, a comparison operator, either greater than, less than, greater than or equals to, less than or equals to, not equals to, right? And some other ones we have like, we have in, we have between, and so on and so forth, which we will talk about, right? So when you have that, then you have a value that you want to compare. So this value or this expression must be true for this statement to work, right? For the statement to work, the where clause must be true. That is the condition that you put to the where clause must be true. Please talk to me if you can hear what I'm saying. Please talk to me if you can hear what I'm saying. Anybody? Can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, ma. All right. So, having said that, right? Having said that, so let's look at this statement, right? We'll look at this statement without the where clause, and we'll look at it with the where clause, right? So we say select all from employees until. So if I say select all from employees, what do I mean? I'm saying that return all the rows and all the columns from the employees table. Can you see? It returns everything. I can see everything. It returns everything. The 11 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 columns and 107 rows are returned. But now I'm saying that return all the columns, but what? Limit the rows to only people in department what? Department 90. So when I run this statement now, right, you will see that the only thing that is returned is that we have what? 3 people who are in department what? 90. That is, this statement is now restricted to just what? A particular department. Are you following me? So that's how your what? That is how the the where clause works, right? So you can even limit it to just one person, right, or one particular condition, right? So say select employee ID first name, last name, job ID, salary from what? From employees, where employee ID equals what? 200. If you run this statement now, you just have only the person whose employee ID equals 200. So bringing this to an understanding and to reality for us, right? If you go into your university and you say that your the and they, or maybe the university is looking for you and they don't know your name, what they need to know is just something about you, right? Once they have something about you, they can use that to search whoever you are, right? So you have attributes that are unique, which is where primary key, one of the places where primary key comes in, right? You have your primary key, right? You have your value that uniquely identifies that person. Once you find that value, you can use that value to search for that person's information from the database. Another one is your email address. Another one is your mail, your email, your name, your first name, your last name. Every attribute that is used on a table can be used to search out a value, right? Or can be used in the where clause. So in this situation now, you'll see that we use where employee ID is what? Is equals to 20. I mean to 200, right? Employee ID equals 200, right? Look at this example. We say what? Select employee ID first name, last name, job ID, salary from employees, where last name equals what? Willen, right? If you run this now, you see that it's only Willen that pops up. Now, why? Because last name equals what? Willen. Let's try first name equals Willen, right? And see what it brings to us. You see that it would not work because there is no value like that on the database. Can you see? It gave us an empty what? An empty result, meaning that I do not see any value in this column, first name column, that is Willen, right? But if I change that what to last name, you see that it will return a value for me. So it will return a value to me. Can you see? So that's one of the more very good, very important um, functions or examples of the word clause. So you can use the word clause also with what? With date and what? With greater than. Same what? Same projection from employees where higher date is greater than this particular date. And I've told you that what the system date starts with what? With YYYY or century YY, DD, I mean MM and what? And DD, right? So this is a system what? System um compatible date, right? Or system date format. That's the system date format. So you can also use a combination of what? Of arithmetic operator greater than or equals to. So you say select first name, last name, email address, job ID, salary from employees, where salary is what? Is less than or equals to what? 10,000. This condition has to be true for it to receive a result. Can you see? It brought us everybody who receive at least 10,000, that is 10,000 below. That's what it returns. People who receive 10,000 below, right? People who receive, whose salary is 10,000 below. Just a generate a report of all employees whose salary is at most 10,000. Right? So that question is what we've answered here. So we want to see those whose salary are what? At most 10,000. So in that way, we interpret at most as what? Less than or equal to. So we say at least. What are we saying? It's saying that we're saying that salary is greater than or equal to. Are you following? So in this situation, all of them have a salary less than what? Less than 10,000. Right? So we can do the same thing with higher date, where higher date is greater than or equals to, greater than or equals to, right? I mean, sorry, less than or equals to. So you want to see everybody that was hired before or on this date. That's what you're saying. You want to see everybody that was hired before or on this particular date, right? That is the function of um, um the where clause. Now we want to see how to use the between in the where clause, how to use the between keyword in the where clause, right? The between keyword, right? And the between keyword is a very simple keyword, right? Does not have any problem, right? We use the between to compare two values, right? We use the between to compare for two values, a higher value limit and a lower value limit. Are you following me? A higher value limit and a lower value limit, right? So look at this statement now. You say you want to generate. Let me give you a problem statement here, right? You say generate a report for employees who whose salary is less than is less than 2,500. Generate a report of employees whose salary is less than 2,500 or whose salary is between 2,500 and 3,000. Right? So we're generating a report of employees whose salary is between 2,500 and 3,000. Look at it. Right? So same select statement, select employee ID, first name, last name, email address. I mean, first name, last name, job ID, salary from employees where salary between, can you see the between keyword? Between 2,500 and 5,000. So everybody whose salary falls between this scale will be returned, right? So let's try it. Can you see? So you discover that the salaries do not go between this lower limit and the higher limit. The lower limit here is the one on the left, and your upper limit here is what? Is the one on the right. So your lower limit here is 2,500. The upper limit is what? Is 5,000, right? So you see that in the result, right? Then it says select employee ID, job ID. I mean, employee ID, first name, last name, job ID from employees where what? Where first name between Adam and King, right? Between Adam and King. If we run this now, can you see between? That is falls between, not exactly on border. They fall between. They fall between Adam and what? And Eve. This year falls between what? Between 2,500 and 5,000. Please let me know if you understand what I just explained.
Yes, sir. I
Also,
do.
all right. I'm waiting for replies from others.
I understand.
Awesome. Right? You can still use the between keyword, between what? For date. Can use it between this date and what? And this date. Right? You can see that. You can see that. Now, we want to talk about the in condition. The in condition. Don't worry. I will drop all of these codes with you so that you can go through them on your own time. On your own time. Hold on, please. Hold on. I need water, please. All right. So we want to talk about the in condition. The in condition, right? If you follow the curriculum, just talking about the between, and I said the between helps us to check for values, right? The between check for values between and between a lower limit and an upper limit. That's the function of between, right? No more than that. That's the function of between. Now, we want to go to in, right? Now, if you look at it, what we have so far is that in the where clause, we've been able to use our own values, right? Is pick a particular value and use a comparison operator using either equals to, greater than, less than, greater than or equals to, less than or equals to, right? So in that, those ones are single, we call them single row function. Are you following me? Right? We call them single row function. I'm going to explain what that means, right? Let me just put it here. Using single row operators. We call it them operators. Right? These operators less than, greater than, less than, less than or equals to, greater than, or equals to, equals to, not equals to, right? That's the six of them, right? That's the six of them. Right? These operators are are used in the where clause to return a single these operators are used in the where clause to compare values, right? They are used to compare values, say equals to, greater than, less than. So we use them to compare values, right? So we now have, I already talked about those ones, right? We now have the between, right? The between takes two values, right? A lower limit and an upper limit. It takes two values to return it what? It's to return to give us a result, right? So when you use the between, you're using two values. So you're saying that what I am looking for is between this border, right? The first lower border and the second higher border, right? That is what the between does, right? So then we have the in, right? The in, right? The in operator helps to check for values in a specific list, right? It helps us to check for values in a what? In a specific what? List, right? That's what it does, right? So let's see an example of that. Like I said, it's practical today. We're not doing plenty story. Practical today, so we can go straight into what we're doing. Right? So select employee ID, first name, last name, job ID, salary from employees where first name in Michael, Susan, Queen, William. Are you following me? We gave a specific list and say that check for me the first name in this list, right? It can be everything in, and when you use the in is inclusive, right? It can be everything in the list, and it can be everything in the list, and it can be nothing in the list. I mean, it can be everything in the list, and it can be, yeah, it can even be nothing in the list, because if you can't find any of the values in the list, it will return a null value. It will return a null value to you, right? But it can be everything in the list. It can be one of the what you have in the list. There can be two components in the list. There can be whatever number, right? So we are saying that return this list. So this, the business case to support this will be generate generate a report for people with the following first name, right? Generate a report for people with the following first name, right? So and what you're saying there is that it could be inclusive, it could be exclusive, right? It could be inclusive, it has to be inclusive, right? Right, and also it could be exclusive. If it is exclusive, it means that it will not return anything, right? So if we run this now, let's run this statement to see what it gives, right? If we run this now, you would see that it gave us how many rows? 5 rows returned. 5 rows returned. And in that 5 rows, we want to see, is there a Michael there? Right, there's a Michael first name. Is there a William? There's a William. Can you see? There's another Michael. There's a Susan. And there's a William again. But there is no Queen. Can you see? So which means that in this list, it could only find what? 3 components of this list. Queen exclusive. Right? Of the 4 components or 4 elements in this list, it could only find for 3, but Queen could not be found. Right? That's why I said that it could find for all the names or all the components in that list. It could what? It could find for just 1, it could find for 2, it could find for none. Right? That is the essence of in. Just know that we use in to give a specific list to the where clause to check for the values. Are you following me? Are you following me? Please let me know if you understood. Now look at this. Now we're saying that generate a report of people who earn the salary. Generate a report of people who earn the following salary. Right? So generate a report of people who earn the following salary, right? So I want to know those who earn 5,000, those who earn 10,000, those who earn 15,000, and those who earn 20,000, right? Now, like I said, because we're using anytime you have a list of values, right? You put them this way, where salary in, you have a list of values in, and you create a what? You create a list. Are you following me? You have all your values in the list. It could be 2, it could be 5, it could be 10 values, it could be 20 values, it could be as much values as you want, right? So what do we do? So this now, if you run this now, it would generate a value, to generate a report of those whose salary fall between the numbers in this list, right? And if you look at it, the salaries that are generated are just for what? People within what? That earn 10,000. So which means that in the database, we actually do not have any employees whose salary is exactly 5,000, or whose salary is 15,000, or whose salary is what? 20,000. But we have 4 people whose salary is what? Is 10,000, right? And they are Peter, Janet, Harrison, and Amma, right? These 4 people earn what? 10,000, right? So because we specified a list, right? What happened to the list? It checked for 5,000, it could not find. It moved to the next value. It found 4. It moved to the next value. It could not find. It moved to 20,000. He could not find, and he gave a result. He gave a result of those he could find. Please let me know if you are with me. Are you following me?
Yes, sir, we're following. Well, I want to ask.
Okay, ma'am.
Sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud
Okay, I
and
want to ask this. Okay, this last one you just ran, this list of salary earners. You know, it's only 10,000, I'm saying. So I did see 20, 15. So are you saying that on that that I mean on this table, this particular table, there's nobody that earned that 15,000, 20,000, and
5,000? Exactly. Yes. Yes. That's what it means. Yes. Do you understand?
Yes.
So if we run the same now, right? If we run this one now, this is for job IDs, right? You will see that we have can you see AD Press? AD Press is the first one, is the second one on the list. Can you see AD Press, right? Then we have IT Prog, right? All the people in IT Prog, sorry. All the people in IT Prog are returned, right? What do we have next? We have salesman. Can you see? All the people in salesman, sales rep, right? Now, if you look at this one, this one returned every of the 4 components in the list, right? Every of the 4 components in the list. Why this one here returned only 1 component in the list of 4? Only 1 component in the list of 4. And the one we did earlier returned 3 components of a list of 4, right? Queen could not be found. We found for Michael, we found for Susan, and we found for William, right? But Queen could not be found, right? In this one, 10,000 was found, 5,000 could not be found, 15,000 and 20,000 could not be found. And in this example here, all of them could be found. And that is the beauty of a list, right? The beauty of a list is that when you supply a list to a web clause using the in statement, using the in keyword, right? It does not go beyond the borders of what you have given to it, right? And it behaves more like what? Like the between, except that it is more specific, right? Between takes a upper limit and a lower limit, right? Between takes a what? A upper limit and a lower limit. That's what between does, right? Between 2,500 and 5,000. Between 2,500 and 5,000, right? So it is saying that the number should not go beyond, should not even get to 25,000. I mean, it should not get 2,500 and should not get to what? 5,000, because it is between them, in between. Do you understand? It is not 25,000. I mean, it is not 2,500. It is not 5,000. It is inside that border. That is the function of between. But in is more specific in action. right? Because what we are doing is that we're supplying a list. We're supplying a list to between. To in, right? We're supplying a list to in. Now, this next thing that we want to talk about today is we want to talk about, so we're talking about the in operator, we're talking about using the like operator, we want to talk about combining wildcard characters, right? Combining wildcard characters, right? So you want to do a search, right? You want to do a search on your database. You're not sure, right? In the situations that we have earlier, we've been able to say that, okay, we know that the name of the job ID is sales rep, SA rep. We know that the job ID is AD Press. We know that the job ID is IT Pro. We know that the job ID is salesman, right? Or we know that the salary of the person is the salary of the person is 10,000, 5,000, or their name starts with their name is Adam or King or all of that. But what happens in the scenario where we do not have a full name, right? We don't know what their name is. You know, there are some situations that you're like, and I know that person. The person's name starts with M, right? Or the person's job ID starts with K, right? You want to know stuff like that. You have just an inkling, a clue, right? And you want to use the clue to search for data on the database, right? So the question is it possible? Yes, it is possible, right? So we call that, it says using what? Using the like operator, right? Using the like operator. That's what we want to talk about. Using the like operator. Oh, okay. Sorry. Before we go to wildcards, we want to talk about using the like operator. Sorry. Before we go to wildcards, actually, all right. So we'll talk about the wildcards work with the like operator, right? The wildcards work with the like operator. The wildcards work with the like operator. I'm going to say that again. The wildcards using wildcards with the like operator in the where clause. Right, in the where clause. Right. So question is, what are these wildcards? Right? What are these wildcards and what do they do? Right? What are these wildcards and what do they do? What are these wildcards and what do they do? Right? So we have two of them, right? They're not plenty, so you don't need to cram. They're not plenty. Just follow what I'm saying, right? Now it says using the like operator is similar to what? To a search pattern, right? That is when you remember I said that what you have is an inkling. What you have is an idea or a miss. You just have a piece of an information, and you want to use that piece of information to find out data on the database. How many of us have tried to Google something and you're like, I don't know the title of that movie, but I think there's something like man in the title of that movie, and you go to Google and you just write movie man, right, and it gives you a list of movies or places where you can find movies with the title man, right, or on your song list, on your song library in on your phone. You're looking for a song by maybe Sia, and you don't know the name of the artist, but you just know that the name of the artist starts with S, right? And what do? You just type S in the search button, and what do you get? You get a list of what artists whose name starts with S, or you know that the name of the song starts with K or KE, right? Or the name of the song starts with KE, and you just type in KE, and it brings out all the list of what songs that ask it. So what you just did is actually a pattern search. Are you following me? It's a pattern search. But want to see how we do pattern search or pattern searches in on the database, right? Right. How do we use pattern search to get results out of the database? Right. Now we use wildcards, right? We call them wildcards. Wildcards, right? They are wild. They help us go far and wide to look for data, right? And the first one is the percentage. Anytime you see a percentage is as a wildcard, right? Anytime you say percentage in the where clause, right? In the where clause, remember in the where clause, right? It says it represents 0 or more character. Simple. Can you see? Very simple. Percentage means 0 or more character. I'll say that again. Percentage means what? 0 or more character. You'll see what that means very soon. And anytime you see underscore, right? Underscore is the second one. Underscore is the second one. Anytime you see underscore, it means it represents exactly one word, one character. Now, do not make a mistake. There is underscore in this place, right? This is a job ID. This is not the kind of underscore we're talking about, right? This is part of a job ID. This is underscore in the column name, right? This is underscore in column name, right? But I'm saying that anytime you see these wildcards, right, with the like operator, with the what? They have to come with the like. When you say like, what you're saying is that it looks like. That is the essence of like. Of course, we know the meaning of like. You say like this name, like this salary, like this date of birth, like this job ID. That's what we're saying. So anytime you see these operators, these wildcards with the like operator, you know that you're doing a pattern search. Now, plenty story. Let's see what we mean. Look at this. It says select employee ID and first name. So let's give this a business case, right? Let's give this a business case, right? Generate all the first names, all the employees with a first name that starts with K, right? That's the business case, right? That starts with K. Generate a list of all the employees with a first name that starts with K, right? Look at it. Select employee ID, first name from employees where first name like K percentage, right? Don't worry, I'm going to explain this. We all understand what select first employee ID and first name means. We know what the from clause actually means, and we know that where clause now we're saying where restriction. Don't bring out everybody. Bring out all those whose first name is like what? Starts with K. Now, let me explain this to you. K is the first letter. Then it means that, remember we said that what? Percentage. Who can tell me what percentage means? Who can tell me what percentage means?
0 or more character.
Thank you. 0 or more character. So which means that I'm saying that I'm looking for all the names that start with K. The name can be K. That is K. You remember there are Korean people whose name are just letters, right? So it can be K, it can be KA, it can be KI, it can be Kim, it can be King, it can be anything, right? But it starts what? It starts with K. Let us look at the result of this thing. Can you see? Can you see? So it says that there are 7 people on the database who has their first name that starts with, who has first names that start what? That start with K. So we have Karen, we have Kevin. Can you see? Look at Key, KI, right? Then we have another Karen, we have Kimberly, we have Kelly, and we have Kelvin again, right? That is a pattern search with like, right? But if I say select employee ID and first name from employees where first ID, where first name like what? K underscore. Who can tell me what underscore means now? Vivian, not you. Somebody else. Who can tell me what underscore means?
Means just a character.
Exactly, just one character. Just one character after. Just one character after. So if you run this now, what happens? It brings only Key, because only Key has just what? Just exactly one character after his name. Are you following? Right, let's see more examples. Okay, we've seen this. Let's see more examples. It says generate a report of all the job IDs that start with what? That start with SA. Can you see? That start with SA. Now look at it. Select employee ID, first name, job ID from employees where job ID, job underscore ID, like what? SA underscore. Right. Now look at it in this scenario. Remember that we have underscore as part of the sales category or in this situation, underscore is part of the job description here, right? So what we are saying is that this pattern that we are giving to it is that SA underscore anything 0 or more characters. Remember that there's percentage. So you are saying SA, the underscore here does not mean exactly 1 character. I'll take that again. The underscore here does not mean exactly one character, right? You know why? Because a pattern search came after it. So this pattern search, this wildcard, sorry, that came after it makes it inclusive, or makes it the underscore inclusive of the SA, right? So if you run this now, what you're saying is that give me all the job IDs who look like what? SA underscore, right? So if we run this now, what do you get? Can you see SA man, SA rep, SA man, SA rep? Right, look at this, right? Once this is generate a list of all employees with O in their job ID. With O in their job ID. Generate me a list of all employees who has what? O in their what? Job IDs. So we want to see where job ID is what? Like what? Where job is like percentage O percentage. That is 0 or more characters before O, 0 or more characters after O. That is O is somewhere in between. Are you following me? O is somewhere in between. Look at it. IT Pro, can you see the position of O here? Can you see the position of O? All the ones that came out would have O. Can you see? All of them would have what? Would have O. If you run that same statement, let's copy it. Paste. Let's hold on. Let me copy that. So if my business case now is generate a list of all employees with M in their what? In their first name. Or let's say we've been using first name, let's use last name. In their last name, right? M in their last name, right? So let's turn this to last name. Let's turn that to last name. Right? Select employee ID, last name, job ID from employees. Where job ID, like, so now it's not job ID anymore. What we're looking for is last name. So it's a last underscore name, like M. So you have M in their what? Last name. Right? Let me remove job ID. Job ID. So run this again. Can you see? They all have what? M in their last name. M. All of them have M. Look at this one. Started with M. This guy has M somewhere in between. This started with M. So that is how to do a pattern search. Are you following me? I want to look for a particular name. Copy. Right? Let me say M underscore C percentage. Right? Who can explain this to me? I need somebody to explain this to me. What are we looking for here? Anybody?
Okay, sir. I think it means that we're looking for for a name that has M_C, um, 0 or more character after it.
Think about it again. You are almost there, but think about it again.
Okay, does it mean it has to have M and I can't, let me think. I'm coming.
You are getting it actually. Okay, well, you just need to put your thoughts together. You are getting it. I need somebody else to try. All right. So as not to waste time, right? You're saying that the name must start with M. There's one character, exactly one character after M. Then C comes after that character, and you have 0 or more character after M. I'll take that again. The name starts with M. The last name starts with M. There's one character, exactly one character after M. Then after that character, there is C. Then there's 0 or more character after M. Right? If we run this now, let's see if there's anything that matches that. Can you see? Mark Kane, right? M starting with M, exactly one character after M. Then there's C. Then there's 0 or more character after C. Does that make sense? Please let me know if that makes sense.
Wait, sorry. You say exactly one character.
After
C.
Yes.
Okay, exactly one character after
M.
the M.
Yes. Then
Now
C is now then C came in. Then do you understand?
This one is complicated.
Please, do you understand? Let me know if you understood. Right. So who can tell me what this means now? This one. Who can tell me what this means? IBK. John, I've not heard from you. What does this mean?
So let me try this one.
Okay.
I think this one, the search we start, the what you are looking for, we start with the letter O. Then after the O, just one character.
No, look at it again. Look at it again.
Yeah, you are starting this with percentage. That's what I'm. As in, you have this like is represented by this percentage. That's what I understand.
What does percentage mean?
Is that's what the like used to search. It's represented with it represent the like in this search. This percentage represent the like.
Okay.
Like anytime you want to use this like, you use this percentage.
No. Yes.
So
We
let
use
me try.
percentage. Hold on. Let me correct that. We use the percentage for a search because the percentage means something in this like statement. The percentage means 0 or more character, and the underscore also means exactly one character. Do you understand? So in this situation now, can you tell us what it means? I want Madam Anita to get what I'm saying. Think about it again. This means 0 or more character. This means exactly one character. So what does that mean?
No, it means that after the 0, just one character.
Yes, but before the 0, uncle.
Before the 0.
Yes.
It means okay. What have 0 before? That's the character that comes before 0. I don't know. In the search.
This means that anytime you see something like this, right, it means that there are more 0. We are saying there are either 0 or more characters before O and exactly one character after O. Percentage means 0 or more character. Do you understand? Percentage means 0 or more character. So you are saying that there are 0 or more character before O and there are what? Exactly just one character after O. That's what it is. Do you understand? So if we run this now, right, you see it. I want to use it with name. I don't want to use it with job ID. All right, let's use it with name so that we can get a full understanding of it. Let's use it with first name. Right? Let's do first name. So we run this now. Can you see? 0 or more character before O. So Jason has JAS before O and just one character after O, N. Harrison has more characters before O, that is, he has Iris before O and just one character after O, which is N. Jonathan has Jonas before O and just one character N after O. Winston has Winst before O, that's WINST before O and just one character after O. Right? So if we copy this now and we replace it with Madam Anita, this is for you. Let me replace this with P, right? So what does this mean now?
It means that there are some characters before P, then immediately after P, just one character.
Exactly. Now you get it. Awesome. Well done. Well done. I'm proud of you.
Sorry,
Yeah.
excuse me. So does it mean that it can be it can start with P because it's 0 or more? So it can be just P like Peter,
Yes.
and then
He can know.
Peter
He can.
and it can't be Peter, maybe PE, PI or
Exactly.
something.
Exactly.
Okay.
It can be pi. It can be po. It can be pa. It can be PZ. It can be PQ. It can be anything. P, so it can be plenty characters before P, or P and just one character. Do you understand? So the one for P did not give us anything because there is no name like that. So we will try. Let's try S, right? Right. Look at it. Luis, Lisa, and Alisa. Can you see? Plenty characters before S and just one character before S. I hope you understand that. So that is how the word characters work. That is how they work. Are you following?
Please don't be further. Can you run over that M_C percentage again? It got me a little bit confused.
M is the starting character. One character after M. Exactly one character after M. Then after that character, there is C. Then 0 or more character after C. Do you understand? One character after M. M is the first is the starting character. There is just one character between M and C, right? Between M and C, there's just one character. Then there's 0 or more character after M. So in this situation, if we have a name like MAC, it will come out. If we have a name like MIC, it will come out. Do you understand? So, and that's why when we ran it, it gave us McCain, because between M and C, there's one C. Can you see? Between M and C, there's a C in between. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. So if I write something like, I hope we can find something like that. If I write something like this, right, and I say O underscore, right? O, there's 2 underscore here that's joined together new. O underscore. What do you think that means? O underscore.
It means 2 characters after O.
Thank you. 2 characters after O. I see. Although there's no name like that, right? But you can see that it is correct because it gave us no, right? But that means that there's 2 characters after O. Underscore, right? 2 characters after O, right? So if I say,
I didn't put the percentage in that one.
Yes, I did put percentage. I just wanted to use. You don't have to put percentage. It is when you want to. It is when you need percentage that you use percentage. Percentage is must not be in all of them. It is when you need percentage. Percentage means 0 or more character. Do you understand?
Okay.
Percentage means 0 or more character. Do you understand? So if I say Mark Kane, right? If I say Mark underscore, right? If I say Mark underscore, like this. Is it first name or last name? Let's check. Can you see? Underscore brought in I and N underscore, just two, right? Just two. So if I say underscore, Mark Kane, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 underscores after MC. Can you see? It brought me Mark Kane and Mark Ewing. Can you see? 4 characters after MC. Are you following me? So, but instead of writing 4 characters after MC, I can just say percentage, right? If I just put percentage, right, it means the same thing, right? Because it could be more than 4 characters. Can you see? Same results, right? But in the case where you know that it's just 4 characters, you can put plenty, you can put 4 underscore. But just to make it shorter, you just put a percentage, 0 or more character. That's what I mean. Please let me know if you understood what we've done today.
The white cards. Yeah, I think I understand, sir.
Okay.
Sir, please, I don't understand that white card. Can you explain it again?
Those white cards are what we've just talked about, right? The white cards are the underscore and percentage. Are you following me? The white cards are the underscore
Yes, sir.
and percentage, and they work with the like function. We use them to do a pattern search, right? So when you see like and you want to pass, you don't know the full name or the name of something, but you know that that name has S, it has E, the name has AEU. Do you understand? It has all of those elements, and you don't know the full name, right? So I say, and I know that the name has NI, right? I can say that, okay, let me begin to use the underscore and the percentage to search out that name.
Okay, sir.
Exactly. All right. So, all right. I want to talk about briefly about null values, right? We've talked about this already, but I just also want to jump on using is null, right? Using is null, using is null, using using is null. It's null, right? It says it's null is just to help you know those values that are null values. That's basically what we use them to do, right? This is null. Sorry. Is null generates all null values in a column. That's what they do. Generates null values in a column. So if I say select all from employees where commission percentage is what is null. What I'm saying is that look at the business case, generate a report of all those who do not receive what commission percentage. Remember, we said that what null value is a value that is unassigned, unknown, unavailable, and all, right? That is, it does not mean empty. It means that the value is not available or is unassigned, right? So if I want to say that I want to know all those who do not receive commission percentage in the company, What do we say? We say select all from employees where commission percentage is what? Is null. Right? You see that there are 72 people. It gave us what? It returns 72 what? Rows. 72 people in the company who do not return null value. If you look at the null value column, it is basically what? Empty. No, 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 no. That's what you have there. No, 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 no. Right? No. Right? If I say that select, okay, perfect. That's actually the next statement. Look at the next statement. Generate a report of those who do not have a manager. Generate a report of those who do not have a manager. Look at it. Select all from employees where manager ID is what? Is null. Right? If I run this, can you see? The Stephen King is the only person who do not have what? A manager. Look at this manager ID. No. What does that mean? He is the CEO. Are you following me? Is the number one candidate, is the CEO of the company, does not have a manager. That's what it means. Do you understand? Right? It say generate a report of those who do not have what? An email address. Right? Where email address is what? Where email address is not. Right? You want to see all those who do not have what? Email address. Everybody in the company has email address. Can you see it did not return any value for us? Everybody in the company has email address, right? So basically, it's the same thing here. Everybody in the company has what? Email address. That's what you're saying. Everybody in the company has email address. Right? Are we there? Can I continue now? Awesome. Now, so we understand that null value, how null value operates. I want us to finish early today. I don't want to spend too much time. Hoping that we can wrap up this chapter by 6 so that I'm coming. Okay. All right. So, so the next thing we want to talk about, is using logical operators. Using logical operators. Are we there? Using logical operators. And the logical operators are and, or, and what? Not. Logical operators and, or, and not. And what does it mean to say they are logical operators? It means that when you say a value is a logical operator, it means that they evaluate to true or false. Logical operators and not in the where clause, right? Coming. Right? In the where clause, right? So let me just put it here. Logical operators evaluate to true and what? And false. Right? Don't be dismayed. You see them in example now. Right? They evaluate to true and false. Look at it. It says generate a report of staffs who are in IT department and who earn below what? 10,000. So the first one we want to talk about is the AND operator. Right? So we want to talk about the first operator. AND operator. Right? For the AND operator, to return, for the AND operator to return a value or a result, both conditions must be true. For the AND operator to return a result, both conditions supplied to it must be true, right? Look at the business case. It says generate a report of staffs who earn. I've taught you how to read business cases, right? Generate a report of staffs who earn who are in what IT department and who earn what below 10,000. So we're generating a report of staffs, right? That is employees who are in what? So this is the first condition. Who are in IT department. And can you see? And so this is the first condition. Who are in IT department. It did not stop there. It say and who what? Who earns below 10,000, right? So how do we do that? How do we do that? So we're doing a right. We're doing a projection now. We select employee ID, first name, last name, job ID, and salary from employees, where job ID equals what? IT. Remember you said that what? They are what? In IT what? IT department. Who are in what? In IT department. Right? So first condition. Who are in IT department? So job ID equals what? IT. And can you see the and? The and operator now. And salary is what? Less than 10,000. Salary is less than what? 10,000. So if you look at it, what we are doing here now is that instead of us writing two statements, instead of us writing two separate statements, we're joining the conditions into the where clause. You know that I can equally write, just give me all the employees, that are in whose job ID equals what? IT programmer. And I say, give me what? All the employees who are what? Who receive what? Less than 10,000. But I want to know if there are people in the IT programming department that earn less than $10,000, right? So now the essence of this and is that for this statement to give us a result, the two conditions must evaluate to true. What does that mean? Are there people who are in IT department? Job ID equals IT programmer must be true. If that is true, then salary less than what? 10,000 must be true. That is, people in the IT department now, which means that this statement will first of all check for people in the IT department. When it checks for the people in the IT department, it stores that result in memory. That result that it stores in memory, it now checks the second condition on that result. It checks the second condition on that result that they are stored in memory. These people that are in IT department, do they earn a salary that is less than 10,000? Who among them earn less than 10,000? So I'll take that again. The first statement, right, is that it will check the employees table to check for people whose job ID is what? IT programmer. That is, who are the IT programmers in the company, right? That is stored in memory. Now it now takes what? The second condition and apply it to that result and says that okay, now that I have seen people in IT department or who are in the IT department, who among these people earn less than what? 10,000. That's what you have. So these two conditions must equate to what? True for the and to work. And is that both conditions must be true. Both conditions must be true. So if we evaluate this now, right? Can you see? All these guys earn less than what? They earn less than what? 10,000, right? They are all in IT programming department and they all earn less than what? 10,000. Both conditions equals true. That is why we get the result. Both conditions equals true. That's why we get the result. If we change this less than to equals to, right, you will see that it will give us an error. Can you see? It didn't give an error. It didn't give us any result. What that means is that there are people in the IT department, right, but none of them earn a salary that is equal to 10,000. If I change it to greater than, it will be the same thing, no value, right? There are people in the IT department, but none of them would earn above what? 10,000. So if we change that to what? To less than now, you will see that it will give us a result. Yes, there are people in the IT department, but none of them earn up to what? $10,000 per month. And that is the essence of the and word condition. Are you following me? That is the essence of the and condition. Let's look at this business case again. Let's generate a report of those whose first name has what? A as part of its character and what? and ends what? Above 5,000. That is, I want to know those who have A in their first name. Whose first name, because it's first condition, whose first name has what? A as part of what? Of its character. And end what? Ends above what? 5,000. So how do we write that? How do we write that? Look at it. Select employee ID first name, salary from employees. Where, can you see? Where first name like what? Anything before A, anything after A. That is 0 or more characters before A, 0 or more characters after A. Remember this from our pattern set now, right? And so this must be true. First name like what? A. And what? So it will first of all look for all the people who meet this condition. If they have met this condition, if it finds 10,000 people, I mean 5 or 10 people who met this condition, then for those who met this condition, how many of them now earn a salary that is less than what, or that is greater than what, 5,000, right? Both conditions must be true for this to work. That's the essence of AND. That's how AND works. AND ensures that both condition has to be true. Both condition has to be true for it to result. If you look at all the people that returned, 40 of them, 40 rows returned, all of them have A in their what? In their first name, and they all earn above 5,000. That is the essence of AND. Right? That's the essence of AND. That is the essence of AND. Are you following? Let me know if you understood what we just talked about. Want to look at the next one, right? The next one is 30. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hmm? Hmm. Hello. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay.
But the screen is not showing. I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah, it will come. It will come on soon.
Okay.
Check again. Can you see the screen now?
No, I'm not seeing anything.
You can't see the screen, right?
No, it's not showing.
Okay. Let's hold on. How about now?
It's still not showing. Okay. Yeah, I can see it now.
All right. All right. So, do we understand the AND operator? Do we understand the AND operator? I'm also finished by 6. My data is, I don't know, network in my area has been messing up. I was network that disconnected for. That's why I caught me out of class. Right. I want us to finish by 6. So, please let me know if you understand the AND operator. We have just 4 more things to talk, 3 more things to talk about before we close class. But by next week, we have a very serious class. We have to finish about 3 chapters, and next week, we have to finish about 3 chapters next week. Right, so prepare. Right? Do we understand the AND operator? The AND operator would give you a result if both conditions are true. Right? First condition in this statement here is first name like what? Like A. And the second statement is what? The second condition is salary is what? Less than 5,000. Both conditions has to be true for it to give a result. Do we understand? Please let me know. John, Ibukun, Madam Anita, Vivian. Let me know if you understood that. All right. Just going to continue. All right. So the next operator that we want to talk about is the OR operator. The OR operator, right? It says the OR operator, right? For the OR operator to work, for the OR operator to give you a result, either condition has to be true. That is, it does not need both conditions. It does not need both conditions to be true. Right? Just one condition is needed to be true. Just one condition is needed to be true for the OR operator to work. Just one condition is needed to be true. It says generate a report of staff who earn a commission or whose manager ID is greater than 200. Generate a report of staff who earn a commission, that is, who receives a commission or whose manager ID is greater than what? 200. Let's look at the statement, right? Just going to remove this. We know that already. So this select employee ID, last name, commission percentage, and what? Manager ID, right? Remember that we need what? 2 things. We need the commission percentage column. We need the manager ID what? Column, right? So that's why we have the employee ID, first, last name, commission percentage, and manager ID from what? Employees. Now, first condition. First condition is that commission percentage is what? Is not null. That is everybody who receives commission percentage. So how do we know? Commission percentage is, remember I talked about is null a minute ago. I said that null means that it will bring you every value that are null. So if the opposite of values that are null is not null. So using is not what? Is not null, or manager ID is greater than what? 200. So for those who have, so the results that we're looking for is that the commission percentage can what? Can be true. They can what? Receive commission percentage and not have a manager ID that is above what? 200. Or they have a manager ID that is above 200 and not have a commission percentage at all. Let's look at the result. Let's look at the result. Now, look at it. Roselle. Roselle receives what? A commission percentage, 0.4%. But look at his manager ID. It's less than 200, but it still came out. Just what condition is true for him? The condition is that he receives commission percentage. But his manager ID is not what? Is not what? Above what? Does not pass this condition. That is, for him, the manager ID condition is false. It's not greater than 200. Same thing with partners, right? Whose commission percentage is 0.3, but his manager ID is 300. Same thing with Erasmus or Erasmus, right? Same thing with Kamabrot and Zlotki and all of them, right? If you look at them, they all receive commission percentage, but they do not have a manager ID that is above 200. Can you see? So let's go down. Look at it. We now have two other people, Faye and Git, whose manager ID is above 200, 201, and 205, but does not what? Have commission percentage. Their commission percentage is not. So for them, the manager ID condition above 200 is true, but they do not receive commission percentage. So either condition has to be true for the or to work. Either condition has to be true for all to work. Please let me know if you are listening to me. Let me know if you are still there.
Yes, sir.
Finally,
We're still there.
Okay, right. Finally, we have the last one, which is the logical condition, which is the not. Not means opposite of true or opposite. Let me mute your mic, please, of false. Opposite of true or opposite of false. That is what not means, right? Opposite of true and opposite of false. So not can actually work with in. So you can say not in, not between, not like. Are you following me? Not you can work. You see them in operation. Not works with the opposite of all of these guys. So look at it. It's generate a report of all departments, including the IT, excluding, can you see, excluding, generate a report of all departments, excluding IT, finance, sales, and admin department, right? We want to generate a list of all the departments, but we're excluding IT, finance, sales, and admin. Right? How do we write that? It says select all from department. So we're using the department statement now. Select all from department. Where department name not in, can you see? Before we used in, right, to return a set of values. But this time around, we're saying that not in. That is, exclude them, exclude these four from the result. Not in any of these guys. IT, finance, sales, and administration. If we run this statement now, you would see that they will be excluded, right? How do we know? How do we know? Let's first of all say, so that we can see all of them. So we say select all from departments. What do we have? Right. So look at them. There's IT, there's There's administration. Can you see IT, administration, sales? Can you see sales and finance? Right. So how do we exclude them? We say not in. Right. So if we run the statement now, right, you will see that IT is nowhere to be found. Neither is sales, neither is finance, and neither is administration. Can you see? They are all missing because we've excluded them from the list. We're using what? By using not what? Not in. Are you following me? So we use the not in to what? To exclude. Can you see? We can say not between. To select what? Select all department, all from department. Where department name, not between administration and finance. Right? Select all the departments from what? This is another business case, right? Generate a report of all departments excluding departments between admin, administration, and finance. Right? Now, when we say exclude, you'll see what that means now. Right? You'll see what that means. Somebody just joined class. Lolade joined class when we're almost done. Welcome, Lolade. Joined class when we're almost done. My network is having issues, but we've had a great class today. Right. So we want to exclude, right? We want to exclude. We'll first of all write this statement for the between clause to understand what we're saying, right? So I'm going to use just between, right? So say select department, select all from department, where department name between administration and finance. So if we run this now, let's see what we get. Right. So if you look at it, all these now I've ordered it. Can you see? All the results, right, are between what? Administration and what? And finance. Between administration, that is A, and what? F. Between A, what we actually need here is what? Is the first letter or the first two letters and what? The first two letters of the what? Of the lower limit and the first two letters of what? Of the upper limit. Administration starts with AD, finance starts with what? FI. So everything in between AD and FI is what is included in this result. Can you see? So you have A, right? You have can you see we have administration, benefits, construction, contracting, control and credit, control, corporate tax, executive, and finance. Right? All of these are what? Between A and what? And F. Right? So if we say not between, right? What does that mean? It will be not between, that is exclude all of these guys from the list. Now look at it. A and F is off the list. Now the A that is inside the list is AC. Can you see? AC is what? That is AC is not before AD. I mean AC is before AD. Can you see? AC is before what? Is before AD, right? So we have everything between AD and FI is what? Is missing. Everything between AD and FI is missing. So that's why you have marketing, purchasing, human resources, shipping, IT, publication, sales, accounting. Accounting is before administration. That is in alphabetical order. That's what we're talking about. Treasury, shareholder service, marketing, operations, IT support, NOC, IT help desk, government government sales, retail sales, corporate recruiting, and payroll. That's the essence of not between, not between, right? So it's the same thing that we have here. Same thing that we have here. We say where first name not between Adam and King. That is, we are saying not between AD and what? KI. Are you following? So if we run this now, all the names that will be returned, you would see that AD and FI and KI are what? Are excluded from it. Can you see? We do not have any A there. Can you see? A, they are not there. Right? Let's see. There's no name with A. Can you see? Because we've excluded all the A's. Right? We've excluded all the A's. It says 48 rows returned. And we've excluded all the A's and all the names between A and K. All the names between A and K. So after K is what you have L, M, N, Q. Then we have R, S, C, and there's no U. Then we have V. Then we have W. Right. So that is what that means. That is what that means. That's what that means. That is what that means. Right. Any question, please? Before I data using the order by clause, ordering data using the order by clause. That's what we want to talk about, right? All right, so we just want to understand what we mean by using the order by clause, right? Ordering data using the order by clause, right? So the order by clause actually, the order by clause is used to sort query results in either ascending or descending order, right? That's basically what we use them to do. We use the order by ascending or descending order. By default is ascending order, right? Ordering of ordering data is ascending, right? So data are ordered by default in an ascending form, right? So we use the order by clause to order data. That's basically what we use it for. We use the order by clause to order data, either in ascending or descending form. Right, let's look at a few business case before we round up. I want us to finish by 6 today. Before my network messes up again. We've had a beautiful class today, so there's no need to drag it out. And yeah, we've had about over 2 hours of class today. So let's all right. So we have just a few chapters to round up the whole program. Can you hear me? Remember, I said that I've actually noticed a pattern in my network, my area. Network usually just fades away when it's 6 o'clock. I don't know why, and I think it has started already. So I need to finish this class very soon. Um, please can you hear me? Please can you hear me? Um, my network provider to know what exactly is happening. But please let me know if you can hear me and if you can see my screen. We're wrapping up the class soon so that I don't have to. This network will not mess things up for us. So how did you for class today? Like I said, we've been able to cover a few things, even though still within the same chapter, but we've been able to do a recap of what we did last class, and cover this chapter that we intend to do today, right? So, any question before I proceed? I wanted to talk about order by, but I could suspend the order by to the next class, where we'll start from order by, work with single row functions and multiple row functions, then work with aggregating data using group functions. That's what we'll be talking about next class. Next weekend is going to be powerful. Next weekend is going to be power packed. I apologize for not having class again yesterday. It was still the same issues that I was facing. Teams was messing up, my network was messing up. And usually does not do like that. I usually do not have challenges of network or Teams messing with me up. I'm working on Teams. At least today we're able to have class and also record. And for the network part, I'll see what I can do about it to know what exactly is happening. Right? Any question, please, before we wrap up? I'm not counting on this network. It could run away or just go to 2G anytime soon. Any question, please? John, are you trying to say something to me? Vivian, Lola, Madam Anita Ibukun.
Sir, please, can you just drop the video? Sir, can you hear me?
I will do that.
Can you hear me?
I'll try. Yes, I can hear you. I'll try to. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, please drop the.
I'll try to download the videos. Last class video, the last class and today's class. Yes, I'll do that.
And today's class. Yes, sir. So
I'll do that. Any other question? I think we'll continue from my go off anytime soon again. So please, I apologize once again. Wasn't supposed to be like this, but today I'm sure that we had a good class. Sure we had a good class. But next weekend, I'm sure that everything will be rectified by next weekend.
I didn't say we are finishing
I will do that and then use that to. No. We're not finishing next weekend. We still have a lot to cover. This is our 5th week. This is our 5th week. It's supposed to be an 8 weeks training. This is our 5th week. So we have about 3 to 4 weeks to go, right? Remember that we've missed 2 classes. So if we're going to extend to 4 weeks, it would be because of that 2 classes that we've missed. But we have basically 3 weekends to go, and we'll finish in 3 weekends. But we also have Git. Remember, we have Git to talk about. So we have Git Git is just a 1 weekend. It's just a single weekend class. Probably a single class would even cover for Git. So we don't have to overextend. So I can promise that in another 3 weekends, that's 6 to 7 classes will be done. 6 to 7 classes will be done. I can guarantee that 6 to 7 classes will be done. Right? So that's 3 weekends, maybe 1 more class for Git, and we'll be done. Yes, I can guarantee that. Right? So any other questions? So I'll drop the videos on the group for us to go through. That's videos from last class and video from today's class. Video from last class and videos from today's class. And also drop assignments so that will cover up for all that we've done, especially for last class and today's class. So I'll take my time to draft out a whole lot of assignments that would cover us. Probably expect about 15 to 20 questions, right? That you would write SQL statements for, right?
Okay.
I'll be in some
Sir, please,
people's DM. I've been
one
asking them
more
to
thing.
do.
Sir,
Okay,
my
ma'am.
assignment, I don't know if you are able to, if you are still able to open it.
So I think I've not been able to open it. Yes. So I have to on Tuesday. And there's no class on Tuesday. There's no class on Tuesday. Okay, what you will do is
So
please
you'll
send it
be
to me.
there on Tuesday.
There won't be a class on Tuesday. You are writing the exam on Thursday.
And the morning class, are you not going to be there?
Yes, there will be morning. Okay, are you coming for the morning class?
No, I'm not coming. I just say you said you will not be in class on Tuesday.
No. I'm saying that your own class, since you're not going to be in the class afternoon, you can send it to me as text. Send it to me as ordinary text file, notepad.
Notepad.
Yes, send your code to me as notepad.
Okay, sir. All right, sir. Please, I mean, only like maybe I can come down Tuesday so that you can check it. You can want to be sending it to you through that my SQL.
Yes,
I want to be sending it to you through yes.
Yeah,
So I'll
just
come on Tuesday.
you can come. That's fine. I'll be there. I'll be
Okay.
there.
All right.
That's
Thank
fine.
you.
All right. IBK, John, Vivian, any question? Any question? Please and please and please go through what we have done. Please and please and please do go through what we have done so that you understand what we have done. I wanted to talk about Lola asked me a few questions during the week, and I wanted to clarify on those. And it's basically on the issues of constraint. But I think I'll
I
shift
was
that
going
to
to
next.
ask you the same question now, but thank you for answering.
Okay, awesome. Were you able to fix it?
I
Hello,
can't hear
were you
you.
able to fix it, Lola?
Not necessarily. So the thing was
Eh?
that the first assignment you asked us to do, where you said we should just create like without constraints. So I wanted to just alter those ones, then put the constraints on it, and I realized that no, it was not possible. Even after I tried the alter statement, and also I realized that I don't know, maybe it's because of MacBook. MacBook is very funny when you're doing like alter statements as opposed to what you call it, like Windows laptop, because I tried to use TT's laptop and it was some things that are not working on mine and working on hers. So there's that.
Are you
But
serious?
anyways, I just recreated like a whole new. I dropped the schema, then used that your HR schema to create a new schema, and yeah, it worked.
Okay. All right. So first of all, first thing I want to clarify about constraint is that when you are creating a table, right, you create constraints, right? You can create your constraint while creating your table. You can create your table without constraint. When you create your table without constraint, you use the alter statement to add the constraint. You cannot create a table. Are you following me? You create a table and you did not put constraint, and you are using create table statement again to now create the same table and add constraint. It will always tell you that the table already exists. Are you following me? So when the table has been created and you need to add a constraint to it, maybe you have added some constraint before and you need to add another constraint, or you want to change the constraint that you added to something else, you have to use the alter table statement, right? That is one. Two, when you are creating a foreign key, so that most people actually have all other constraints on lockdown except for foreign key. Foreign key is usually the constraint that messes people up, right? And it's because foreign key is relying on data from another table, right? So when you're creating a foreign key, first thing that you need to know is that the table that you want to reference and that is the parent table and the child table, they must exist. That is, I want to create department ID as foreign key. The department table, and I want to put it on employees table. That table department must exist. The department table must exist. The employees table must exist. That is why most times we do not add the constraints, the foreign key constraint, when creating the tables. We add it after both tables have been created using the alter table statement. And if you look at it, that is what I gave you in in the HR schema example, the foreign keys were added even after the values have been added, right? And the reason is because foreign keys can be very funny, right? Which is what a whole lot of you have experienced even from the last set in their projects. Is one of the things that they experience, right? When most people like to add their foreign keys after they have populated the table. Are you following me? After they have populated the table using what? Using insert what? Insert statement. After they populated the table using insert statement, that is actually the best way to do it so that it does not give you any issues. Are you following me? Are you following me? So when you create your data, right? When you create your data, we'll still talk about how to insert values into a table very soon. It's the second to the last chapter that we're going to talk about, right? It's very easy, right? When you create a table, right, and you've created the foreign keys on both tables, right? If you are adding data to those tables, delay adding foreign key until when you have added at least a few data into those tables, into both tables that can correlate for both tables, right? Then you add your foreign key. But not to say that you cannot add your foreign key while creating the table and all of that, right? But sometimes they behave funny. Are you following? Right. So those are the things that I want to clarify. Next class again, I will go through it again with examples so that we can see what I am talking about, right? But you can add constraints while creating your table using the create table statement and just adding them either at column level or at table level. And you can still add the same set of constraints after you have created the table using the alter table statement, right? Any other question? Any other question? So Lola, I think like you rightly mentioned, Apple has a way of behaving funny. But let's assume that I could see you. I could have tried to troubleshoot to see what exactly was wrong, right? To know what exactly is wrong. But if it really, all right. So if it happens, right, you could easily meet me at NIT, right?
Yeah, I think it will come. I'll just drag her down and just come.
All right, I'll be glad to have you. Right, so I'll be waiting for you. Maybe you can get, I'm usually there either Tuesday or Thursdays, right? So you can meet me there Tuesdays and Thursdays. What do you say?
I said Tuesday then. I think that's the free day.
All right. Tuesday is fine. Tuesday is fine. Thank you everyone for coming to class today. Don't worry. Like I mentioned, all the issues that we've had with Teams and with network, I promise that they'll be sorted by next week. But today we had a very beautiful class. I'm really glad about that. We had a very beautiful class. The videos will be dropped either most likely this night. If this not this night, first thing tomorrow morning, I'll drop the videos so that we can have them and also drop the assignment. I'll begin to work on the assignments now so that you can have them also. If not this night, tomorrow morning, latest, to be able to work on them. God bless you for coming to class. I'll be in some people's DM, so that we can talk some beautiful stuff. Thank you for coming. Do have a wonderful evening. Have a very productive week. God bless you. Bye.
All right, good night.
Bye, sir.
All right. Good night, ma'am.